When we're making music and the creative juices are flowing, the last thing we want is for anything to get in the way of that momentum that we're building. And so today I want to show you guys 4 really amazing utility plugins that you can get for Ableton Live that make your life easier and faster, help you stay organized so you can stay in that creative headspace for as long as possible. So let's take a look. So first off, we've got the Live Set Cleaner by LWT, and this is an amazing utility plugin because it essentially cleans up and erases all of the clutter inside of your session. So you can see in this particular session, I've got all kinds of empty MIDI clips. I've got inactive MIDI clips. I've got a lot of extra tracks that I'm not using. Some of them are muted and some of them have like extra plugins on there that I'm not using at all. And they're just taking up the CPU that could be precious for other things in the session. So what we can do is we can just click Clean Live Set. And if you click this little hamburger icon, you can actually tell it what you want it to do when you clean the set. So you can, have it delete the empty tracks, the muted tracks, the inactive clips, the inactive devices, and the unused sends even. So I just have these 3 clicked. I'll also include the inactive devices here. And if I go back and click Clean Live Set, you'll see that it'll start working and start deleting all the stuff that I don't need inside of this session, so I can continue to focus on, fixing the song or adding things that I need without, having all this extra stuff inside of the actual session. So now it's gone through and you can see that it's deleted all of the extra stuff that was in that session, and I'm only left with the stuff that I actually need with, again, 1 click of the button, and it's really, really handy. There's also a few different modes that you can use where you can just go through one by one. If you mostly have just inactive clips and you don't really want it to delete anything else, you can be a little bit more specific and intentional with how you operate with this particular plugin. But overall, really, really simple and really fast way to organize your session so you can move forward onto bigger and better things. The next plugin we're looking at is Auto Track Colors, also by LWT, and also an equally amazing plugin because it allows you to quickly organize your session to the color scheme that you like. So let's say you had a blank session and all your tracks kind of looked like this. What you do is you go to the color settings and you write down different keywords that you want to be associated with different colors. So in this case, you can see I have kick and break set to be red, snare clap and rim shot to be blue. And so if I go to color all tracks, it will apply those colors that I have in this sort of list of rules that I've set. Now, where this gets even better too is that you can organize a session just as I did this way without having any color scheme set. But also what you can do is you can have it auto update. So if I open up any new track, like let's say I call this kick, well, that's going to immediately turn red. Have a snare, it's going to turn blue, again, according to the rules that I set. What I like about this a lot though, is that if you drag a sample in, like let's say you're using a snare sample, you don't have to do anything because it already recognizes that snare is inside of that sample name. And so it'll automatically color it and you can continue on and keep creating and stay organized as you go along here. And of course, you can also change any of these color settings as well, and it will automatically update. So if I want to change my, kicks to be orange, it'll update just like that. So it's a really, really handy thing to have to stay organized on the go and to just, again, stay in that creative headspace. Now, the next plugin I want to show you guys is called Clip Gain, and it does 2 really cool things. The first one is that it allows you to open up a floating window for some of the options inside of this particular menu, right? So if you want to change the gain or the pitch or maybe the warp mode, you'd have to press Shift Tab, and that's even if you know about that shortcut. And then you'd have to go through and change some of these and then go back so you can go back to the window that you were previously at. However, this allows you a little floating window that you can actually change some of this stuff without having to go back and forth between Shift Tab and whatnot. The other cool thing though is that it allows you to assign the parameters inside of this menu, inside of the audio clip menu, that you normally couldn't. So for example, if I press Command K, you can see that any of the stuff that turns orange is assignable to a key on our keyboard, but all this, the warp modes and all of the transposition and the gain, we can't do any of that with an assignable key yet, unless we have Clip Gain. So if I go back and press Shift Tab, and you can see that inside of the Clip Gain Max for Live device, the warp mode and the loop mode and some of these gain and pitch knobs, they're all assignable to a keyboard shortcut that we want, right? So if I click warp and I press on the numpad 5, you can see that it's added the warp mode on and off to numpad 5. So if I press Command K again and get rid of this window, and let's just pull up in this window so we can see what's happening. And then I press numpad 5, you can see that it's changed the warp mode. So this is the kind of stuff that can really speed things along. And so you don't have to keep switching back and forth between all kinds of different menus. You can just do this right away. And the other cool thing too is that this doesn't just work on a track by track basis. So what we can do is, like, let's say I wanted to duplicate this clip onto another track. You don't have to have another version of clip gain on there. You can actually just press numpad 5 and it will change the warp mode. So if I press 5, you can see that it's turning the warp mode on and off for this clip. And I can also move over to the other one and do the same thing. So this works in any of the clips inside of your session, which is awesome. And you can see where this would get really efficient too, because maybe we want to take it to the next level and assign the pitch octave up and down to a key as well. So we could go to Command K and then we could click the plus by the 12 semitones. Let's say we assign it to 6 and then down an octave would be to 4. Now what we can do is press Command K to go back to our original view, and we can press 4 and 6 and change the octave just like that with any of our clips. So we have all kinds of possibilities here. Now, speaking of shortcuts, last but not least, we have Shortcut Buddy. And Shortcut Buddy is awesome because what you can do is assign different devices to key commands on your keyboard. And this is really helpful because how often do we open up compressors and EQs and our favorite synthesizers and saturators and utilities and stuff like that. So we can assign all of those to our keyboard to make that process a lot faster. Okay, so the way that this works is I'm actually going to I'm going to get rid of my current configuration. So the way this works is we're going to drag our effect onto Shortcut Buddy, and then I'm going to press Command K, and this is where I assign the key that I want my EQ to be set to, and I'm going to press E, and you can see that it's assigned key E to launch 1, which is exactly what we want. If I go to Command K again, and then I press the letter E, it's going to add an EQ, and I can continue to do this over and over and over again. So now you can sort of think about how you want to add in your favorite devices to different keys on your keyboard to make things a lot faster. And maybe you want to do the same exact thing with the compressor. So you just grab your glue compressor here, drag it onto the insert effect portion, and then press Command K again. And let's say we wanted to press G for our glue compressor. Press Command K again, and then now we can even alternate, right? So add a compressor, add an EQ, add a compressor, add an EQ, and it just makes your life so much easier and simple. The cool part too is that you can use third-party VSTs with this whole process as well. So if I wanted to use Analog Lab and assign it to my keyboard somewhere, I can just open up Analog Lab, group it so that it turns into an instrument rack, and then save that as a preset called Analog Lab, let's say. And then what I can do is go back to Shortcut Buddy and I drag that preset right into our effect here. And let's say I wanted to assign it to the numpad 0. I can press Command K and then click this little circle here because that's the launch button. I press 0. And then when I go to an empty MIDI clip here, I can just press 0 and it will open Analog Lab up right for us. So we don't have to go through and search inside of the browser to access it. Now those are my top 4 absolute must-have plugins inside of Ableton Live to make life easier. Now, if you have any plugins that you use that you think makes your life and your workflow a lot faster, please leave a comment down below. I would love to hear about it. And as always, happy music making, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.